Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, what is the difference between method overloading and constructor overloading in Java? Along with example, you have to answer. So let me answer this question starting with theoretical explanation followed by the practical demonstration for the same. So first of all, what is the difference between method overloading and constructor overloading? Let me write these terms here. First one is method overloading. This side I'm going to write method overloading, and this side I'm going to write constructor overloading. Okay, the similarity here you can see is as a whether it is method overloading or constructor overloading. What is similarity? Here overloading is there, here overloading is there. The term is same, but here method is there, here constructor is there. Okay, at a high level, that is the difference, right? Overloading concept, if applied to the methods, it's called as method overloading. Overloading concept in Java, when applied to the constructor, it's called as constructor overloading. What is similarity? Both these overloading things support an OOPS concept in Java known as polymorphism. There's something known as polymorphism, one of the OOPS concepts that Java programming language will support. That is polymorphism. Poly means many, morphism means forms. There are different object-oriented programming concepts in Java. One is object, second one is class, then third one is polymorphism. Then we have inheritance, encapsulation, and abstraction. This many OOPS concepts are there, guys. One of the OOPS concepts is polymorphism. Whether it may be method overloading or constructor overloading, they support polymorphism. Okay. If you take method overloading, it supports polymorphism. If you take constructor overloading, it also supports the OOPS concept known as polymorphism. Many forms. Okay. Same thing having many forms is called as polymorphism. So how can method overloading support polymorphism? You see, first guys, this particular question may come to you in the interviews, but don't directly jump to the differences part. First explain the stuff, guys. What is polymorphism, method overloading, constructor overloading, both support the polymorphism. Explain that what is polymorphism. Same thing, having many forms is called as polymorphism. Then explain how method overloading contributes to this polymorphism. Then explain how constructor overloading contributes to this particular polymorphism. You have to explain. Then only you go for the differences, because it's not a clear, this particular question is not about exact differences between method overloading and constructor overloading, guys. The question has come because there is similarity like overloading method and constructor here. They are asking like that, but ultimately there are not much differences between method overloading and constructor overloading. Overloading when applied to methods is called as method overloading. Overloading concept when applied to the constructor is called as constructor overloading. Okay, that's what is the difference, guys. If you know the difference between method and constructor, right, and apply the overloading concept to this method and constructor, that becomes the difference between method overloading and constructor overloading. But no one will ask you, if you still get this kind of question in the interviews, guys, you have to answer something like this. How can method overloading is possible? Let's say there is a class, guys. Let's say there is a class. Assume that there is a class. Inside this class, inside this single class, let's say ABC is the class name. Let's say ABC is the class name. And here you created a method with the name, some sample method. Okay. Some sample method you created. Assume that you created some sample method. Again, if you create the sample method again here with the same name, again you created one more method inside the same class with the same sample name. If you create multiple methods inside the class name, what will happen? Java compiler is going to give you an error known as duplicate method error. Okay, duplicate method error will come. Okay, duplicate method error will come. Okay, guys, duplicate method error will come when you try to create multiple methods having the same name inside the same class. Java compiler immediately will give you the duplicate methods until and unless for this particular duplicate methods, if you change the number of parameters and type of parameters, if you change the number of parameters and type of parameters, then that is okay. Okay, they can be considered as the overloaded methods. Methods having the same name can exist in the same class only when this particular method parameters count is different or the type of the parameters is different. Okay, the count of the parameters is different or the count of the parameters need to be different. In that case, in the same class, you can create multiple methods having the same duplicate name, but they should differ in the number of parameters or type of parameters. Then only this method overloading is possible. If the methods having the same name or which are duplicate methods doesn't have the difference in the number of parameters or type of parameters, then Java compiler will give you a duplicate method error. To overcome this error, we have to give the different number of parameters or the different type of the parameters by declaring the parameters with the different data types. We can still hold the multiple methods having the same name inside the same class, and this concept is called as method overloading. Then what about constructor overloading? Again, I'll take the same class, guys. Let's take take an example of a class here. For example, the name of the class is, let's say XYZ is a class name. Let's assume that. Okay, in this class, I would like to create the constructors. So you already know one rule about the constructors. When compared to methods, methods can have a different name when compared to the class names. Methods can have their own names, but than the class name. They don't have to be same as a class name. Here sample is there, here ABC is a class name. Are they same? The naming is different. Sample is a different name. But coming to the constructors, the name of the constructor should match with the name of the class. Okay? The name of the constructor should match with the name of the class. Here XYZ constructor you have to give. Again, if you want to create multiple constructors inside the same class, if you want to give multiple constructors inside the same class, if you want to give again XYZ, you have to give. Okay. Here also, you have to give XYZ as a name of the constructor. The name of the constructors, the difference between here, it's not about differentiating with overloading is same, right? Overloading is same. Then what will be the difference between method overloading and constructor overloading? Method and constructor are the differences, guys. Coming to the methods, method can have same names. Okay, methods can have same names. Methods can have different names when compared to the class name, whereas constructors should and must have the same name as a class name. Okay, constructors should and must have the same name as a class name. But here also there is a problem, guys. Here duplicate method error will here also, even though it is a constructor, you will get duplicate method error will be coming. Okay, duplicate method error will be coming, guys. Here also you'll get duplicate method error. Okay, here also you'll get the duplicate method error. So how to overcome this problem? Again, to apply the overloading concept to the constructors, you have to make sure that you have to change, you have to provide either different number of parameters or different types of parameters. Okay, you have to give the different number of parameters or different type of the parameters for this particular constructors, guys. Similarly, when methods having the same name are created inside the same class, duplicate method error will come. To overcome that, to allow the Java class to hold multiple classes having the same name, we have to differ the number of parameters or the type of the parameters for this method. In the same way, if you create multiple constructors and anyhow the constructors will have the same name as a class name. So when you create multiple constructors in the same class, ultimately we have duplicate methods or constructors created here, and you will get the compiler error saying that duplicate method or a duplicate constructor kind of error will come compiler. To overcome this problem, we have to differ these constructors with different number of parameters or different type of parameters. Then constructor overloading is possible. Method overloading is possible. Constructor overloading possible, where the constructors will have the same name as a class name, multiple constructors. Instead of they being treated as duplicate constructors, we have to differ them in the number of parameters and the type of the parameters. Here also for the methods, different number of parameters and type of parameters. This is what is called as method overloading and constructor overloading, guys. If you talk about the differences, guys, I don't have much differences, guys. So if I have to explain the differences between the methods and constructors, methods will have the return type, constructors will not have the return type. And coming to the methods, methods can have the different name as a class name, whereas constructors should and must have the same name as a class name. Okay, these are the differences, guys, at a high level. Okay. And what is other differences? Invocation process. Okay, invocation process means when you are calling this method, you have to create object for the particular class in which these methods are there, and using the object reference of this particular class, we have to call these methods. Okay, using the object reference of this particular class, ABC class, you have to create an object. Using the object reference of the ABC class, we have to call this overloaded methods by passing the different number of parameters. Like for example, this particular method has no parameters. While calling this particular method, you don't have to pass the arguments. Okay, when another sample method is having one parameter, you have to pass accordingly. If another particular method has a parameter having the different data type, then you have to pass, when you call the method, right, you have to give a different, you have to pass a different value. Okay, different based on the type of the parameter, you have to pass the argument from the method calling statement. Okay, So coming to the constructors, you don't have to explicitly call the methods the way method overloaded methods are being called. In constructor overloading, you don't have to call the constructors explicitly by creating an object for the class. When you create the object, automatically the constructor will be called again. In the object creation statement itself, constructor calling statement is there. When you're calling that particular constructor from the object creation statement, if you pass the different type of arguments or different type of parameters for the arguments, right, then automatically the respective constructor will be called in the overloaded methods. Okay, overloaded constructors. Okay. So these are the stuff, guys. And one more thing, in inheritance, if you talk about inheritance, method overloading is possible. Method overloading is possible in inheritance. Whereas if you apply the inheritance here, when parent and child class are there, if you try to create a duplicate methods for the parent class duplicate methods, if you try to create in the child class, then what will happen? You try to create a duplicate method for the parent class method in the child class. Here overloading will happen if they differ in the number of parameters or the type of parameters in the inheritance, whether it may be same class or different classes. Okay, if that particular class is a child class of the parent class, if you try to create a duplicate method in the child class, but that particular method in the child class differs in the number of parameters or type of parameters, that particular method in the child class also is said to be method overloading the method in the parent class. Okay, but coming to the constructor overloading in inheritance, constructor overloading is not possible. Why? Constructor overloading is not possible. This is one of the main difference I can tell, guys. Inheritance method overloading is possible across inheritance, not only in the same class. At inheritance level also method overloading is possible. But coming to the constructor overloading across inheritance is not possible. Why? Why constructor overloading is not possible? Because the if you create a child class for this XYZ class, some MNO class you create, the name of the constructors cannot be XYZ in the child class. So there is no way of duplicating the parent class constructors in the child class, because child class will have its own named constructors. So there is no possibility of duplicating the constructors in the parent class and the child class. Hence, constructor overloading is not possible across the inheritance. In parent and child classes, constructor overloading is not possible, but method overloading is possible across the inheritance rather than the same Java class file. Okay. So I think I covered a lot of stuff, guys. Okay, let me brief you about theoretical things that I've covered so far. Coming to the method overloading and constructor overloading, they support the polymorphism, object-oriented concepts. Multiple methods inside the same class. What is method overloading? Multiple methods that are created in the same class with the same name, but which they differ in the number of parameters or type of parameters. To avoid the duplicate method error is called as method overloading concept. Constructor overloading is similar to the method overloading, but here in the constructor, the name of the constructor should match with the name of the class. Multiple constructors can be created in the same class, having the same name as the class, which will differ in the number of parameters and different type of parameters to overcome the duplicate constructor or duplicate method error. That is called as constructor overloading. Both supports the polymorphism concept. First main difference that I want to cover about the method overloading and constructor overloading is method overloading is possible in inheritance, whereas constructor overloading is not possible in inheritance. Okay, just now I explained, right? A parent class method can be duplicated in the child class by giving a different number of methods or number of parameters or type of parameters. That particular method in the child class is having the same name as the method in the parent class, but differing in the number of parameters or number of type of parameters is called as method overloading across inheritance. But constructor overloading, such kind of constructor overloading across inheritance concept in parent and child classes is not possible, because constructor should have the same name as a class name. So constructor in the child class should have the same name as the child class name. So there is no possibility of duplicating the constructor names in the child class. Hence, constructor overloading is not possible. Okay, fine. Another difference is, you see, whenever they ask you about the constructor overloading and method overloading, you have to give the differences between the methods and constructors. Constructors will not have any return type, whereas methods will have the return type. The name of the method should match with the name of the method should not match with the. It's not compulsory for the method to have the same name as the class. Methods will have different name from the class names, whereas constructors should have the same name as the class names. Okay, and invocation means how you are calling the methods. In order to call a particular method of a particular class, you have to create an object for the class, and using the object reference, you have to call that particular explicit overloaded methods of the class. Whereas if you want to call the overloaded constructors while creating the object only, in the object creation statement only, you can invoke the constructors. Okay. So now I'm going to demonstrate the practical demonstration of all this theoretical stuff that I covered so far. If you can explain this stuff, right? If you can prove your knowledge to the interviewer, You don't have to exactly give the difference between the methods and constructor overloading to the interviewer. Rather, if you try to explain all these concepts surrounding this method overloading and constructor overloading and all these basic concepts you can explain to the interviewer, then the interviewer will definitely get impressed and will be satisfied with the answer. Okay, so there always there will not be direct answers for the question, guys. Sometimes they'll try to ask some questions using which they would like to extract your knowledge of that particular questions. Okay, so of the topics. So let me practically demonstrate before we close that answer for this particular question. So I'll just go to one of the package here and create a new class here. The main pack. I'll just create a new class here. First, I'll go with the some class like car class. Let's say car class. Click on finish. Some random example I'm taking car class. Inside the car class, I'm going to create some methods, guys. Inside the car class, I'm going to create some methods. Control plus. Okay. Yeah, it will increase the font size. Now I'm going to create some method, guys. Public void sample method I created. Okay. Sample method I created, guys. System.out.println. I'll simply say inside sample. Inside sample. Now, if I want to duplicate this particular method inside the same class, is it possible? You'll get a compiler error. You see, already you got the I just copy pasted this method again here. I got the compiler error saying that duplicate method sample. So, how to overcome this problem? With the help of method overloading. If you still want to have the methods having the same name inside the same class, in that case, what I have to do, guys, have to differ in the number of parameters, guys. I have to differ in the number of parameters. That is int a, I'll say. Okay, here I'll say plus a. Okay, plus a. Like that I'll write. Okay, so here one parameter is there. Since this particular method having the same name, duplicate method name is there, but it has 0 parameters and it has 1 parameter. So you see, it's okay. Okay, it's okay, guys. Whereas another method, public void sample int a comma int b, if I write system.out.println inside sample plus a and plus b, I'll write here. Okay, plus b I'll write. You see here 0 parameters are there. Though the method is created inside the same class has the same name, but it has 0 parameters. But the method having the same name has 1 parameter, and the method having the same name has 2 parameters. Now, if I try to create one more method, if I try to create the duplicate method here duplicate, you see same name is there and same number of parameters are there, same type of parameters. So what I will say is I will make it double, guys. Okay, and here I'll say a. That's okay. Okay, double. You see the type of the parameter declaring this particular variable is different. Okay, the type of the parameters that is declaring this particular variable is different. Okay, type of the parameters that is declaring this particular variable is different. Hence, method overloading is possible. Either the number of parameters should be different or the type of the parameters should be different. If I want to create one more thing, I can create. I will create a duplicate here. In this, one of the thing I'll just make it as a boolean. Other thing I'll make it as a char. Let's say here a is a boolean and b is a char. Let's assume. Okay, like the different overloaded methods we can create, guys. Different overloaded methods we can create. Okay, like this we can create different methods having the same name can be created in the same class when they differ in the number of parameters or the type of the parameters. Okay, we have to understand that. Fine. Now, I told you that I'll just reduce the font here. I told you that the method overloading is not only possible in the same class, but across the inheritance it is possible. I'll create one more class. I'll just name this class as Honda Amaze class. Some class name I'm giving. Extends car. What I am doing, guys? I'm making this Honda Amaze class a child class of the car class. In this case, all these particular methods, overloaded methods in the parent class will be inherited by the Honda Amaze class. Okay, as part of inheritance, this Honda Amaze class is a child class of the car class, and all the overloaded methods of the parent class are inherited automatically. Now I'll create the same duplicate method here. Copy this and paste this. You will not get any error here. When I say public sample, you'll not get any error because this particular method is not overloading, it's kind of overriding here. Okay, you'll not get any compiler error because okay, overriding cannot be resolved to a type. At the rate override, I think so. Override. I would write the annotation override. You see, it's overriding, guys. You see, when I provide overriding means this particular method is overriding the It's exactly duplicating the method in the parent class. So in case of inheritance, when you duplicate a particular method in the parent class, you will not get any compiler error because this particular method is said to override. But what if I don't want to override, guys? But I don't want to override the method in the parent class. Rather, I would like to overload the method in the parent class. Overload the method. For that, I'll write char c or char a, whatever you want to give, you can give. That's okay. Here, int a is there, double a is there, char a is not there, right? So this is called as overloaded method, guys. If you write override this time, it will give you the compiler error because this cannot be overridden method. Okay, override if I write, I'll get a compiler error saying that this particular method is not the overridden method of the parent class method. This is a overloaded method, guys. Method having the same name but which differs in the name of the number of parameters or the type of parameters in the child class is also called as a overloaded method. So how many overloaded methods we have created inside the same class? How many overloaded methods are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the child class, sixth one is there. Total 6 overloaded methods are there. Okay, total 6 overloaded methods are there. And now, if I want to, now guys, if I want to create another class, I'll create say demo class. Demo is not there now. Demo 1 I'll say otherwise. Its main method I'll create. If I go to this demo 1 here, if I go to this demo 1 and here, save this. And here, if I try to create if I have to access this overloaded methods, guys, if I have to access this overloaded methods of this parent class and its overloaded method in the child class as part of inheritance also, overloading is possible across inheritance. If I want to access this overloaded 6 overloaded methods, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth one is in the child class. Total 6 overloaded methods. If I want to access, I need to create an object for the child class. Honda Amaze HA is equal to new Honda Amaze. Honda Amaze HA is equal to new Honda Amaze. Okay, now say HA dot sample, then say HA dot sample. I'll give the value as 5. HA dot sample. If I want to call this particular method, I'll give a decimal value 5.5. This particular overloaded method, when you call this particular method having 0 parameters, this particular method having 0 parameters will be called. When you call this particular overloaded method with a single value, integer value, this will be called. If I pass 5.5, this will be called. If I pass 2 values, HA dot sample of 5, 4 if I pass, 5, 4 if I pass, 2 values I am passing, 2 integer values. So this particular overloaded method will be called. Inside sample, 5 and 4 will be printed. Okay. Now boolean and char value. If I try to pass a boolean and char value, HA dot sample of boolean value, I would like to pass true here as a boolean value, and character value I would like to pass S as a character value. That's okay. Done. Okay. Then coming to this one, HA dot sample of some character. I'm going to pass only the character. Let's say character dollar character I would like to pass, and this particular overloaded method will be called from the child class also. Okay, right click run as Java application and see whether respective overloaded methods are being called or not. Inside sample 5, inside sample 5.5, inside sample 5 and 4, inside sample true and S, inside sample dollar. Okay, you see respective overloaded methods are being called whether they are in the parent class, whether the overloading is being done in child class. By following this, by creating the object and using the object reference, we have to invoke this particular overloaded methods of the classes. Okay, but for constructor overloading, the process will be a bit different, guys. I'll create a constructor. I'll just name this constructor as some name, guys. Okay, let's say some box. Let's say some box. Okay, give some random name. I'm just giving some random name like box here, and here click on finish. So how to create a constructor? What is the difference between a method and a constructor here? What is the difference between a method and constructor? The constructor will not have the return type public. Return type will not be there, and the name of the constructor should match with the name of the class. It's a constructor, guys. Okay, system.out.println inside constructor. Inside constructor, I'll say. Now, if I try to duplicate this constructor inside the same class, I'll get a compiler error saying the duplicate method. Even though it's a constructor, it will say compiler error will say duplicate method only. And if I want to overcome this problem of this compiler error and I still want to create duplicate constructor, then the possibility is that we have to differ them in the number of parameters similar to the method overloading. Here I'll give int a. Okay, inside constructor a plus a, I'll say. Okay, now I'll create one more constructor public box. Here Again, I'll copy paste this. Otherwise, I'll copy paste this one. Here, how many parameters are there? Same name for the constructor will be having the same name as the class name. Anyhow, it will be duplicate, and the parameters count is same, and the type of the parameter is same. So I'll give double here. I'll give double here, guys. I'll give double here. Okay. Here I'll give char here. They will be considered as different methods, guys. They will be considered as different constructors. Actually, constructor overloading is nothing but inside the same class. When you have the constructors having the either constructor having different number of parameters or different type of parameters. Here 0 parameter, here 1 parameter, here different type of parameter. Even though it is 1, but here different type of parameters are there. You can also give multiple things also. If you give multiple parameters int a comma int b like this, you can give that also. I plus b like this. Okay. Now this is what is called as constructor overloading, guys. Constructor overloading is possible only inside a single class, guys. But if you try to implement this constructor overloading in the inheritance by creating a child class for this box class, let's say let's say tin extends box. Okay, tin extends box class. I'll write some random thing, and if I try to create this, it will not be possible, guys, because this is not a constructor. You cannot call this as a constructor because the name of the constructor should match with the name of the class in which it is created. Here I cannot create a constructor with the name box. I have to create the constructor with the name tin, guys. Okay, so this is possible, but box is not possible. So is it possible to overload the constructors inside the child class? The answer is no. Okay, the answer is no, guys. Here I cannot create box constructor, which is a duplicate construct, the duplicate name of the parent class constructor. We cannot create here because this particular class constructors will have the same name as a class, their class name. This particular constructors in this particular class should have the name as a same this particular class name. Hence, duplicating the constructor in the parent class in the child class is not possible because they should have the same name as their class names, and hence constructor overloading is not possible across the inheritance. Only it is possible in the same class, inside the same class. Okay, so here I'll create one more class. I'll just name this class as demo2 with a main method I'll create. And here, if you see this demo2, guys, if you do see this particular demo2, and if I want to call this particular constructors, I don't have to use the object reference to call. Rather, I simply need to create an object, guys. I just simply need to create an object like this, new box. If I create an object like this, I don't even have to create the entire statement. If I say new box, this constructor calling statement will be called in the object creation statement itself. The constructor calling statement will be called inside constructor will be printed. If I call something like this, new box of 5, then what will happen in this object creation statement is itself, this box constructor will be called and 5 will be passed inside constructor, 5 will be printed. If I pass new box of, if I say new box of 5.5, then what will happen here? This box with 5.5 will be added here and 5.5 will be printed, guys. Okay, new box of yes, if I pass. Okay, a constructor which is taking the parameter as a character value will be called new box of 5, 4. This particular constructor having 2 parameters, that is inside constructor 5 and 4 will be printed. Okay, just run this code. Guys. This is what is constructor overloading, and this is how we can invoke the constructor while creating the object creation statement for the for this particular class. Automatically the constructors will be called, and respective constructor print statements inside the respective constructors have been printed. But constructor overloading is not possible across the inheritance. It's only possible inside the single class, same class only. Okay. So hope, guys, with practical demonstration, you got the answer for the differences between the method overloading and constructor overloading. With example, I have demonstrated in this session. So in real time, when you get this kind of question, don't worry. Okay. Only the difference I can see is that method overloading is possible in inheritance, whereas constructor overloading is not possible in inheritance. Before highlighting these particular points, right, explaining about what is overloading, what is polymorphism, what is the difference between method overloading and method overriding in the terms of method is what is the difference between method and constructor, then come to these differences and explain whatever that is possible. So with this explanation, if you give an answer for this particular question in the interviews to the interviewer will definitely get satisfied, guys. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye.